So I would love to welcome you to the very first inaugural episode of Phenovelnoms. Phenovelnoms. Do, 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 do. Phenovelnoms. Do, 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 do. Phenovelnoms. Do, 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 do. Ba-do, 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 ba-do. So this week, I wanted to pick a book that I love, but I also wanted to keep it simple. So I thought, you know, we're not going to go The Great Gatsby. We're not going to Grapes of Wrath. We're not going to, you know, War and Peace. We're just not gonna. We're gonna. More spaghetti, I say. I can run in spaghetti and ride in spaghetti. I can jump, I can slide, I can hide in spaghetti. I can skate on spaghetti and ski on spaghetti. And look at this picture. It's me on spaghetti. I love this book. I actually was introduced to it about, gosh, 15 years ago when my best friend's son was just a little kid, and she brought the book home and I loved it, and I would read it to him all the time and do the voices. And I actually went to his sister's school when she was in kindergarten and read it to her class. And I just love this book. It's so much fun. It teaches kids about rhyming and really putting those thoughts together and those words together. And it's just really just good fun in a kid's book. So I thought, well, I have to make spaghetti, right? But I'm gonna make it my way. I'm gonna make pasta a la Gretchen. Let me just say this right now. I'm not professionally trained. I trained myself, so I may not use the right knife. I may not chop the right way. I may not use the same ingredients that you use, but I guarantee it'll taste good. And let's go! The first thing I'm gonna do is prepare the protein that I'm gonna use, and I'm actually gonna use chicken legs, whole chicken legs. So I'm actually going to remove the skin, peel it back, take all the chicken off the bone, and dice it up, and then I'm gonna make sure I save the legs because we're gonna use those in a second because we can get another meal out of just the bones. So I'm actually gonna drop those chicken bones with the flesh still on them and everything that comes with it in a pot of boiling water that I have started on the back of my stove with some salt and pepper, some sage, some garlic, some fresh garlic. And I'm gonna let that come up to a boil, and then I'm gonna reduce it down to about maybe, I don't know, a third of the way in heatness, and just kind of let it simmer on the back burner. A, it's gonna make my house smell great, but B, I'm gonna have homemade chicken broth that is amazing that I'm gonna probably make a soup out of this weekend. So it's basically a whole other meal that I can just add some rice and some vegetables, make a soup, or I can use it in a casserole for free because I'm recycling the stuff that I didn't use from this meal. I'm also gonna put a pot of water on the front burner and get it to start boiling, and I'm gonna use it to drop my Roma tomatoes into to get these skins to be easier to come off. It just takes a couple seconds. It'll be really cool. Just watch. Okay, so now that I've dropped about 5 tomatoes in there, some smaller tomatoes, and I've let them kind of roost in there for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to take them out and just put them in a bowl. You're not cooking them. You're just preparing them. You're giving them a little hot bath before they get pulverized. Now what you can do is actually take the tomato, you just cut a little piece on the side, a little slit on the side. The skins will actually just slide right off as you peel it. Okay, big scary knife. You're also going to chop garlic. You're going to chop up your red pepper. I like to add some other vegetables to my sauce. I'll just take 2 carrots, and then I'm just going to grate the carrots. I think it adds some extra vitamins. It adds a little bit extra body to the sauce, and Gretchen can get tension. I've actually grated off the knuckles of both of my thumbs doing just this, so let's pay attention. So Teflon pans are great, but when you want it to get some yummy like coating on the bottom, which you'll see in a second, I use the nonstick pan, just the stainless steel. regular old pans. While I'm waiting for my burner to come up to heat, I'm going to put some olive oil in it. The reason, some people wait till the pan gets hot. I put it in because when you put the olive oil in the pan, it's a good indicator of when the pan is hot. When you first put the olive oil in the pan, it just looks like it coats the bottom of the pan. But when it actually comes up to heat, not only will you see little bubbles in the oil, but the oil will actually start to move. It'll start to kind of like spread to the sides. When the oil starts to move, your pan is hot. Right, it used to have like a coating all the way across, and you can see how it's starting to push to the edges of the pan. That means that it's hot. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add the garlic that we chopped. I'm going to kick my heat down to about 2/3 because if it's too hot, you'll burn the garlic and you'll again get a bitter taste. So you'll notice it automatically starts to turn brown, and I'm going to add my chicken in right after it. Holy dimmy Jesus. You want to just let it sit for a minute because it'll cook a little bit and then it'll be easier to move around. Because if you keep moving it, it'll stick and tear and you don't want all that. So just get a nice, I'm going to make like a layer on the bottom of the pan. I'm going to get just like a nice brownness on as many sides as possible. It doesn't have to be completely brown or completely cooked all the way through because it's going to cook in the tomatoes for the rest of the time. And that may freak some people out. They always say, wait, doesn't that like cross-contaminate? No, it really doesn't. So we're going to deglaze the pan with wine. I mean, come on now. If you don't know what deglaze means, it just means to take off all that stuff that's good at the bottom. And it will come off when you put any kind of liquid in there. If you don't want to use wine, you could use, why wouldn't you want to use wine? You could use chicken broth. You could use water if you wanted to. It's going to give it more of a thick flavor with the wine. I use just whatever red wine I seem to have. I have this, what is it? Sangiovese. I don't know what that is, but it was on sale for $2.99. Woohoo! You've got all this brownness on the bottom of your pan. Not burntness, brownness. And I'm just going to pour the wine. Not a lot. Probably about, I don't know, half cup, quarter cup, whatever you want to put in there. And it's going to bubble and it's going to get all that stuff up off the bottom. Alright, I've gotten like almost all that stuff, which you thought you were going to have to scrub, but you don't, off the bottom. And that is flavor. So I'm going to add all those tomatoes that we peeled and chopped. I'm going to add those right in there. So now you've got the tomatoes, you've got wine, you've got those leftover bits of garlic, browned chicken, olive oil. It's all in there. And it smells fantastic. I'm also going to add our red peppers. I'm going to add these carrots. I'm going to add back the chicken with all the juice that's come out of it. Because the longer it sits, you'll have chicken juice. And I'm going to stir it all up. So what would my first cooking show be without a mistake? I forgot to tell you to cut up a small onion, chop it up. We're going to add that in there. I'm going to add in a nice shake of salt. Not too much, because again, as it cooks, it'll kind of constitute more. It'll become stronger and saltier, so don't put too much. You can kind of do it as you go along. Some pepper. I'm going to add some chopped basil. I actually get from Trader Joe's. I think I even found them at the Target grocery store. These chopped basil cubes that you buy in the freezer section. And it's a whole basil, like a teaspoon of basil, fresh basil that's been frozen. There's nothing added to it. And sometimes you can find garlic, cilantro, all that kind of stuff like this too. And it's great because it saves me the time and I kill things so I don't have to try and keep a basil plant alive. Because really. Okay, once I get it kind of doing that bubbling thing, you know, where it's kind of brimming and it's simmering in the pot, And I've got it all stirred up so that everything's kind of coated and everything's mixed in together. All I'm gonna do is take the top, stick it on there, turn it down to about a little less than half on the knob, and I'm gonna let it sit. I'm gonna let it get happy. You can turn it down if you feel like it's still kind of rolling a lot. You don't want it to burn on the bottom. You want it to just kind of simmer and get gorgeous. I don't really like fresh tomatoes, which you may think is weird. But once they've been stewed and cooked in all those wonderful garlic and the vegetables and with the chicken, and it's just so good. And I'm gonna clean up, and next time I see you, we should be ready to start the pasta and eat the spaghetti. Okay, so it's been about, I don't know, like 45 minutes. Half an hour, 45 minutes, and it smells fantastic. I just wanted to check it and see how much longer it has to cook. It's good, maybe a little bit longer. Add a little bit of salt. And some pepper, some more pepper. Okay, so now that I have it about where I want it, just a little bit longer, I'm gonna crank it up to about like 2/3 of the way up, like medium high. Put the lid back on it, and I'm gonna start the water boiling in the back for my pasta. By the time my pasta's ready, because I turned it up now, it'll probably have been in my pot for, I'd say, a good 45 minutes to an hour. Check my pasta, still needs another minute or two. I'm gonna turn off my sauce because I think it's about where I want it. I also like to put some of the juice in there, like drizzle it, because it gets down into the pasta. It clings in there and gets some of that delicious flavor. Kind of coat every little bit of it. And that, my friends, is pasta Gretchen. I love it. It is my favorite version of spaghetti. And to go with my favorite book about spaghetti. Oh, and it's so good. The chicken, you can see, it like falls apart because it's been stewing in those juices. And it's got this amazing earthy flavor. You can taste the wine and the garlic and the onions. The tomatoes are fantastic. And you can still taste them. They still taste like beautiful fresh tomatoes. But they've got all those amazing flavors mixed in there. And I'm going to get a nice big chunk. So good. And it's light enough that you could eat it like on a summer night if you have friends over. But it's also like comforting enough that it's like the perfect winter meal. So go read more spaghetti, I say, to your favorite child or your favorite self in the mirror, and make a bowl of this pasta, and oh, amazing. So keep reading great books, making great food, and you too can be phenomenal. Delicious. Phenomenal.